Court of the City of Stoughton is now in session. The Honorable Scott Dirks presiding.
Please be seated.
I had trouble finding parking.
Oh my gosh.
I should have my own spot.
Really?
Excuse me. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Scott Dirks, and I'm the municipal judge for the City of Stoughton and the towns of Dunkirk, Pleasant Springs, and Rutland. The City of Stoughton will appear in all matters this evening by Attorney Isaac Brodke. Before I begin calling cases, I want to go over some of the procedures we'll follow tonight and some of your rights as defendants. These procedures are also set forth on the form that was made available to you as you entered the courtroom. First, please turn off your cell phones. Second, this hearing is for initial appearances on the citations you received. This is not the time for a trial or telling me your side of what happened. When your case is called, please come up to the podium up front here and remember to speak clearly. These proceedings are being recorded, so you need to answer questions verbally and not simply by nodding or shaking your head. Tonight, I'll ask you to enter a plea to the citation you were issued. Your plea options are not guilty, no contest, or guilty. A plea of guilty means you admit you did whatever it is you're charged with. A plea of no contest means that while you do not admit doing anything unlawful, you also do not wish to contest the matter. In many cases, Mr. Brodke will be in a position to make you an offer to resolve your case here tonight. If you do arrive at such an agreement, you should enter a plea of guilty or no contest. Either way, guilty or no contest, I will find you guilty. I'll then review the facts of your case to determine whether there is a basis for accepting your plea, and will give you an opportunity, if you wish, to tell me anything you feel is relevant to my decision, and I will then impose a forfeiture. A forfeiture is a money penalty and can be from $20,000 to $10,000, though the majority will be in the range of $50,000 to $200,000. I am also required to impose court costs, which will increase the total amount you must pay. I'll automatically give you 30 days to pay your forfeiture, but if you think you'll need more time than that, please let me know right away and we'll set up a payment plan. Failure to timely pay your forfeiture can result in suspension of your driver's license or referring the matter for debt collection. If you plead not guilty, I'll schedule your case for a pretrial conference over the phone with the city attorney. At that time, you can discuss your case with him and see if your case can be resolved without a trial. If it cannot be resolved, I'll schedule the matter for trial. You do have the right to an attorney to represent you in your case, but you must hire that attorney on your own. The public defender's office will not represent you. You also have the right to ask me for a continuance of your case if you need to consult with an attorney or for some other reason. Anyone who is charged with operating while intoxicated or a related offense has the right to a jury trial in circuit court in Madison. However, you must post jury fees for that within 10 days of the date of your plea. In other words, within 10 days of tonight. Trials on all other offenses will be heard by me. You will have the right to appeal any decision that I make in your case. Those of you who are charged with a traffic offense should also bear in mind that in addition to having to pay a forfeiture if you're found guilty, the Division of Motor Vehicles may impose demerit points against your license. If 12 or more points are assessed against your license in any 12-month period, your driving privileges will be suspended for a period of time. And if you hold a probationary license, those points may be doubled. Finally, if your address changes at any time while your case is pending, you must notify the court in writing within 5 days of such a change. And I'll call the first case. City versus Diane Mick.
This is the one that had a conflict, so this
Oh,
attorney
right.
we're gonna call
Oh,
him and get
sorry.
him
I'm
Hang
back
on.
again.
Right. And does he have this one?
He has that report.
Okay,
yep, so
very
I'll
good.
get him on the phone.
All right, we're just going to get the prosecutor on the phone, ma'am.
Okay.
She was given this questionnaire. if
Okay.
you want to address
Yeah,
it.
thank you. Well, on the other hand,
Yeah.
Mr. Bradkey, he does know that we're calling his case first, right? Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
There it is.
This is Dan.
Mr. Evans, this is Judge Scott Dirks with Stoughton Municipal Court. We're in open court right now.
Hi, good evening, Your Honor.
Good evening. And defendant Diane Mick is present in person in court. First, let me ask, have you had any contact with the defendant prior to tonight?
I have not, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Mick, how do you wish to plead tonight? I understand from what I've just heard from the prosecutor who's sitting in for the city attorney, Stoughton city attorney, that he's had no contact with you to discuss a resolution of the case. If you want time to do that, I'm more than happy to do that, but if I remember correctly, the last time you were here, you were pretty eager to get the case resolved right away. But whichever you choose to do, we can do that tonight.
Would it make any difference with me visiting with him in advance?
I can't tell you that because I don't know the facts of the case. You really would need to talk to him about that to see what sort of offer he may make. I can tell you that as a general rule, unless the charge of operating while intoxicated simply can't be proven because there isn't enough evidence, it's highly unlikely that a judge sitting on a matter like that would agree to a change of the charges to something less than OWI. Other than that, I can't tell you any more than that.
No, I would like to get this out of the way, and unfortunately, I will plead guilty.
Okay. Mr. Evans, before I accept her plea, have you had an opportunity to review the reports in the case?
I have, Your Honor. I've looked through the police reports and citation and driving history that I've made aware of the defendant.
All right. And before I go into her plea, do you have any sort of an offer that you're willing to tender to her?
Yes, Your Honor. Based on the incident and the blood alcohol level from the report, the offer would be that upon a plea of no contest to the OWI charge, that I would recommend a forfeiture for the bond amount on the citation.
$986.
Yes, Your Honor. I believe that's most likely. I know the bond amounts have changed. I think that's 250 with the bond amounts, but I may not be certain on that. But I think that's less than the maximum. There would be a requirement for an interlock fee because I would also request an IID based on the blood alcohol level. And based on the blood alcohol level and the reported driving, I'd also request an 8-month revocation of license. I sort of looked at it at the 5th Judicial District Sentencing Guidelines for this type of offense. I sort of, at least the facts as I see them, which of course, Your Honor, you're not aware of yet, but I sort of put this in the intermediate category, so that's where I've come up with the proposal for the offer. And of course, there would also have to be an AODA with that, but the interlock would be required for 1 year.
All right. And Ms. Mick, first of all, do you understand the offer that the city is making to you?
I do understand the offer. I do have my occupational license that was suspended, so because the original suspension is for 6 months. And because this is a first-time offense, it was certainly not intentional, but it has opened my eyes. I have not drank since at all because
Okay, I'm sorry, I have to cut you off because it sounds like what you want to go into is a sentencing argument, and we're not at that point in the proceedings
Okay,
yet. The only
okay.
question I have at this point is, do you understand the offer?
yes, I understand the offer.
And are you willing to accept the offer, or do you want to contest the disposition, not the charge itself, but the disposition? So the fine and suspension length and all of that.
I would like to contest that.
Okay.
But how do I go about that?
Well, we could do it tonight if you wanted to do that. If you wanted to talk to Mr. Evans and see if you can arrive at a joint recommendation to present to the court, I'm happy to give you time to do that, but we probably can't do that until next month.
Let's schedule it for a pretrial with him on
Right, we could schedule it for a pretrial conference over the phone with Mr. Evans on February 5th, and I could hear the case then. We would hear that on the 5th at 6? Or, sorry, that's juvenile night.
Well, or he could talk to her at any point when he's available, and then just, if he could get the settlement agreement to us by the
Okay.
5th, we can do that.
So would that require me coming back again to the
Well,
court?
Yeah, I was just going to say, if you two arrive at an agreement where you're both recommending the same thing, you would not have to come back to court for that.
Okay,
But if you want to argue, he recommends what he's just said, you want to do something different, I'll have to have you here for that. Or we could do it tonight if you want to do it tonight. But you should be aware that Mr. Evans has made his recommendation based on the guidelines that the judges throughout the state have arrived at for penalties for operating while intoxicated.
right, no, I get that, but I guess I also saw on everything that's been published that it was generally a 6-month along with the IID.
Well, 6 months is a minimum. It could be
Right.
as much as 12.
Okay,
So what would you like to do tonight?
let's just finish it up.
Okay. Then, did you go through this plea questionnaire? Do you have that in front of you? Okay. Because the penalties here are kind of long-lasting, I want to make sure you understand what you're doing before we go ahead with your plea of guilty. Do you understand that you have the right to consult with and be represented by an attorney at your own expense in this matter? You have to answer out loud, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay. And do you understand that you can ask for a new date if you want, but it sounds like you don't want to do that? Is that correct?
yes,
You could also ask for the case to be tried before a jury in circuit court in Madison. Do you want to do that?
no,
Do you understand that if I do find you guilty, you will have to undergo an alcohol and other drug assessment? There will be a fee for that. You will have to comply with any treatment that may be recommended as a result of that assessment and pay any costs that may be involved with that. And then when you want to have your driver's license reinstated, there's another fee that you'll have to pay. Do you understand all of that?
yes. Well, I've already paid to get the occupational license.
Okay, but the Division of Motor Vehicles may have additional fees that they impose, and I wouldn't have any control over that. Do you understand?
Yes.
Given all of that, how do you wish to plead?
I guess I'm still going to plead guilty, but I would like to speak with Mr. Evans.
Okay, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to enter a not guilty plea on your behalf so you can talk to him over the phone. We don't really have time to do that tonight.
Okay,
And I understand you want to get this resolved, and I appreciate that. But for reasons that we can't control, we couldn't take care of this a month ago. So we'll give you a final pretrial date where you can talk to Mr. Evans over the phone. If you and he can talk before that, I'll leave that up to you guys. that's fine, but in a minute, we're gonna give you written notice of the date and time to call and his phone number, which I just peeled off of here.
Just make sure I have the right number.
Yeah.
8400, okay. If you just give her this, because I don't have him in our system, he's
Oh,
filling in temporary,
okay.
so if she could
You
just,
wanna-
and I'll send her, I'll send the official notice to Attorney Evans.
Okay, do we have a date and time for her?
If they could just come to an agreement before February
Okay.
5th, and I'll send that to him also.
That's Mr. Evans's phone number. Call him, set up a phone conference with him or with his secretary sometime before February 5th, which is when I'll call the case next.
Okay, well, I'll
Okay.
call him tomorrow. Is he still on the phone that?
Mr. Evans?
Yes, I'm available, or she can call me tonight when we're done. I'll be in the office a little while, but I'm available tomorrow as well until about, I have a trial in Oregon about 3 o'clock, so I'll be available till about 2 o'clock.
You understand that, ma'am?
Yes. Now, if he and I come to an agreement, do I appear before the court again?
No,
Okay,
no.
Okay.
In all likelihood, I would impose whatever disposition the two of you agree on. But if there's any disagreement at all, you will have to come back.
okay, all right.
Do you understand all of
Yes,
that?
Your Honor, I do.
Okay. All right, with that then, you are free to go.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Evans.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll be in touch.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, City versus Andrus. Let me just pull your file up here, sir. You're Dominic, D-O-M-I-N-I-C-K.
Correct.
Andrus, A-N-D-R-U-S-S.
Correct.
And do you still live on West Street here in Stoughton?
I do.
Mr. Andrus, you're charged with speeding on a public highway by 21 miles per hour over the posted limit. Do you understand the nature of the charge?
Yes, I do.
And does the city have an offer for the defendant?
Yes, Your Honor. I spoke to the defendant a little while ago about the circumstances of the case. I will not get into them, obviously.
Sure.
The city believes that given the defendant's age and that discussion, that it may be appropriate in this circumstance to, one, to amend the citation to 11 miles per hour over. That's a 4-point citation, a $98.80 forfeiture, dependent on the defendant completing an Alive at 25 course within the next 2 months.
All right. So are you contemplating my accepting a plea of guilty or no contest tonight and holding it open for sentencing until he completes that? What I can do is this. He can enter a plea of guilty
Yeah, right. And
tonight
you can just order
to
it.
the citation that's issued. But then if he completes the Alive at 25 program at the next hearing, I can amend it down to 11 over and impose the 98.80.
Yeah, Your Honor, either way works. If how you just described it does sound most efficient, I guess.
Okay.
The only concern that I have is for the court when it submits the, and this may be a question for Madam Clerk, whether when submitted to the DOT after the disposition tonight, whether that automatically does anything. That
I do not submit them to the DOT until the judge finds him guilty, so if we hold off on this, on the adjudication and just enter his plea, it won't go anywhere.
Understood.
Until the
Right.
hearing.
got it.
So, Mr. Andrus, do you understand all of that?
Yes.
You sure? So
Yeah.
the idea here is you would enter a plea of guilty or no contest to the 6-point citation that you were issued. But I won't find you guilty yet. I'll withhold a finding of guilt on the citation for 2 months, during which time you're supposed to complete the Alive at 25 program. present proof that you've done that to the city attorney. He'll forward that to my office. And then when we call the case next in March, assuming you do what you're supposed to do, I would amend the citation down to 11 over, which is a 4-point ticket. Impose a forfeiture of $98.80, give you 30 days to pay, and you won't have to come back to court. Does that
Understood.
all make sense to you?
Yeah, so I get the initial charge today of the 6 points, then the 150, and then after completing the class, then it gets reduced?
I won't impose any forfeiture tonight,
Okay,
and we won't report your plea of guilty or no contest to DMV, so no points get assessed against your license yet.
okay, understood.
That won't happen until after you've actually been found guilty, and I won't find you guilty tonight. The idea is that by having entered that plea of guilty, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, then I'll find you guilty of the 6-point ticket and impose the $149.20.
Okay,
So you've got that kind of hanging over your head to make sure you follow through. Is that clear?
yeah, understood
Okay.
now.
All right. Then, are you entering a plea of guilty tonight?
Yes,
Okay? I'm not going to review the facts of the case, and I'll withhold judgment and set this over for review to March 19th.
March 19th.
March
The court
19th
date.
at 6 o'clock. Assuming you do what you're supposed to do and send proof to Mr. Brodkey, you won't have to come back to court. If you want to, that's fine, we're happy to have you, but you don't have to come back.
okay,
Send
Understood?
it to the
Understood.
court, too.
And Mr. Andrus, while I do have you in court, I haven't looked at your driving record yet. I assume that Mr. Brodkey has. But given your age, I'm guessing you're probably on a probationary license still?
correct.
Okay. This is real important. Remember that the second ticket you get on a probationary license, the points double. So, like with this one, assuming everything works out okay, it's going to be a 4-point ticket. But if you get another one while you still have a probationary license, those points are going to get doubled. So if that's, say, a 4-point ticket, it turns into an 8-point, and then your license gets suspended. And you really don't want that to happen. Okay. Any questions about anything?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. Thanks. Then you know what you have to do, and I'm assuming you're going to follow through, and we'll check back in 2 months.
Okay,
All right. Have a good evening.
thank you.
Thank you. City versus Goyer. Mr. Goyer, your last name is spelled Goyer,
That is correct.
and you are cited for speeding on a public highway 17 miles per hour over the posted limit. Do you understand the nature of the charge?
I do, Your Honor.
Does the city have an offer for the defendant tonight?
Your Honor, the city's going to amend it to 11 miles per hour over. That still bears a 4-point deduction, but the city would recommend a forfeiture of $98.80.
Mr. Goyer, does that sound okay to you, or how do you wish to proceed?
Oh, that sounds good to me.
Okay. Are you entering a plea of guilty or no contest?
No contest.
I'll amend as moved by the city. I've reviewed the reports in your driving record. I do find a factual basis for your plea, and I'll find you guilty. Does the city have anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Goyer, is there anything you wish to tell me before I pass sentence?
I do not, Your Honor.
Okay. I will impose a forfeiture and costs totaling $98.80. I'll give you 30 days to pay that. Do you need more time than that?
I do not.
Okay. And we'll give you a copy of the judgment, and once you have that, you're free to go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. City versus Gullickson. Ms. Gullickson, is your last name spelled Golackson?
Yes, it is.
And do you still live on 20th Avenue in Monroe?
Yes.
Thank you. You are charged with speeding on a public highway 24 miles per hour over the posted limit. Do you understand the nature of the charge you're facing?
Yes.
Does the city have an offer for the defendant tonight?
Your Honor, the city is willing to amend it to 18 over, bearing a 4-point deduction and $124 forfeiture.
124.20?
No, I think it's just 124, even.
Okay. Ms. Gullickson, you understand the offer?
Yes, I do.
And how do you wish to proceed?
That's fine with me.
All right. I will accept the city's motion to amend to 18 over. And how do you wish to plead to that citation?
No contest.
Do you understand, if you plead no contest, I will find you guilty?
Yes.
All right, I've reviewed the citation. I find a factual basis for your plea. I'll find you guilty and I'll impose a forfeiture and costs totaling $124. Do you need more than 30 days to pay that?
No.
Okay, you've got 30 days.
Yeah.
We'll give you a copy of the judgment and then you're free to go.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. City versus Tallinn.
Is it all right if I approach with her, just to stand with her? Is that okay?
What's your name, sir?
My name is Dean. My name is Paul Lucas. I'm just a friend of hers. It's okay. It's fine. We talked about it already, so.
Okay, I'd rather you sat
Yeah,
back
that's
there,
fine.
sir.
Fine.
Ms. Tallinn, your first name is spelled Isabelle.
Yes.
Your middle name is Teen.
Yes.
Last name Tollin.
Yes, sir.
Great. And do you still live on South Page Street in Stoughton?
No, Your Honor.
What's your new address?
2988 Bluegrass Drive, in Stoughton.
2988?
Bluegrass Drive. It's one of the
Bluegrass
new
Drive.
residents.
One word or two?
Bluegrass Drive, so 2 words.
2 words?
Yes.
Okay. And that's still in Stoughton?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. You are looking at 3 citations. One is for operating a motor vehicle with a suspended driver's license. That means that you were operating on a public highway when you did not have valid driving privileges because your privileges were under suspension. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're also charged with hit and run of an unattended vehicle. That means that while you were on a public highway, you struck another vehicle that did not have a person in it, and you did not follow all of the requirements imposed by statute when you have struck such a vehicle, such as trying to make contact with the owner of the vehicle, it's exchanging contact information and so forth. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
You are also charged with failing to keep a vehicle under control, under reasonable control. Do you understand the nature of that charge?
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Brodke, does the city have an offer for the defendant tonight, or do you need to have time to speak with her?
Yeah, Your Honor, on 2 of the 3, the hit and run and the non-operating one, I think that we should set that for a pretrial. But if the defendant has reinstated her license, Maybe we could get rid of the operating while suspended one tonight.
Okay. Do you have valid driving privileges right now?
No.
How soon do you think you can get your license reinstated?
I don't know how to do that. I know there's a link online on the Wisconsin DOT.
Okay. Here's what we'll do tonight then. I will enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf tonight, and we will give you information on how you can call Mr. Brodkey, excuse me, on February 5th to discuss the cases with you. He can probably give you some information on what you may need to do to get your license back. If the two of you can come to an agreement on how to dispose of these cases, you won't have to come back to court. If you can't, then we'll end up having to schedule the matter for trial, which is fine. But first things first, why don't you see what you can do, if anything, to resolve these cases short of trial? Is that okay with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And if you hang on a minute, we'll give you that information.
One second, I'm sorry.
No,
When
it's all
there's
right.
more than one, it's always takes a little while.
Nope, we're doing fine.
It's for all. I have not. 0205. That's time for all three of the phone numbers on the back.
So, Ms. Tallon, is that time going to work out for you, or are you going to be at work?
The 450?
Right.
Would that be here?
No, it's a phone conference. You call him up at 4:50.
Oh, that'll work just fine.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Okay, again, if you get the case resolved, you won't have to come back to court, but if not, that's fine. We'll set it for trial.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Any questions about anything?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. City versus Angela Olson.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, sir. Mr. Olson, your last name is spelled O-L-S-E-N, correct?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
And Angelo is A-N-G-E-L-O?
Yep.
Excuse me. Do you still live on Foxfield Road in Oregon?
I do.
And you are charged with speeding on a public highway by 24 miles per hour over the posted limit. Do you understand the nature of the charge?
Yes.
Does the city have an offer for the defendant tonight?
Your Honor, the city is willing to offer a similar deal to earlier today, where the defendant pleads guilty to the citation issued today, provided that he completes an Alive at 25 course within the next 2 months. The city would recommend that the citation be amended to 19 miles per hour over and bearing a $124 penalty, forfeiture, excuse me.
Okay. Mr. Olson, do you understand the city's offer?
I do.
Okay. How would you like to proceed tonight?
far as like what I'm pleading,
I'm sorry?
as far as plea?
Yes. Do you
Good.
want to accept the city's offer, I guess, is
yes,
one question.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
That's what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you do, then what you would do tonight is plead guilty or no contest to the citation you were issued. So that's a 6-point ticket. But I would not accept your plea yet, and I would not yet find you guilty. We'd hold off on that for 2 months. During the course of the next 2 months, you complete the Alive at 25 program. Provide written proof to Mr. Brodke you've done that. He'll forward that to us. And then when we call the case next in March, then I would amend the citation down to 19 over and impose a forfeiture and costs of $124. And I would give you 30 days to pay that, but if you find you're going to need more than that, then you contact us right away and let us know so we can set up a payment plan.
Got
So
it.
that's what you want to do?
Yes, sir. Also, I have a question about
Sure.
the course. Is there a fee for that?
I think so.
How much?
Okay.
I think it's like between 40 and 60 bucks.
Okay,
Got it.
$95.
$95.
Well,
According to, I'm sorry.
Yipes. No, that's okay. But what it would get you is 2 fewer points.
You got it.
So your call. Do you still want to do
Yeah.
that?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay. Then how do you plead tonight? Guilty or no contest?
No contest.
Okay. I will accept your plea, but I will withhold a finding of guilt. We'll set the matter over until March 19th at 6 o'clock. If you do everything you're supposed to do, you won't have to come back here, and I'll amend the citation as recommended by the city, impose the forfeiture recommended by the city. But as I said to the other gentleman where we discussed this before, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, you're going to end up with a 6-point ticket and a forfeiture of $149.20.
Got it.
Any questions about anything?
No, sir.
Okay.
Got it. Thank you.
All right. You're free to go. Thank you. City versus McGinnis. You're Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis, is your last name spelled M-C-G-I-N-N-I-S?
Yes.
And do you still live on Heartbeat Circle in Stoughton?
Yes.
You're charged with operating while suspended, which means that you drove a vehicle on a public highway while your driver's license was under suspension. Do you understand the nature of that charge?
Yes.
You're also charged with operating a motor vehicle without insurance, which you are required to carry by law in this state. Do you understand the nature of that charge?
Yes.
Does the city have an offer for the defendant?
you have either your insurance or driver's
I have a driver's license.
Is that,
Yeah.
do you have it on you? So you got reinstated. Okay, thanks. Your Honor, the defendant has provided proof that his driver's license has been reinstated. So on that grounds, the city would move to dismiss that citation. The city has no offer regarding the insurance citation.
All right, based on the city's motion, I'll dismiss the citation for operating while suspended. Mr. McGinnis, do you have insurance?
I don't.
Okay. And how do you wish to proceed on that charge?
Guilty, I guess. Guilty or no contest, or
Well, let me ask you this. Are you in a position to get insurance anytime soon?
I am, but I mean I'm laid off right now, and it's like $600 a month for my truck, so I don't.
can't really afford it right now.
I'm sorry?
I can't really afford it right now because it's too expensive right now, but I'm laid off, so.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. You do understand that if you get pulled over again and you're found that you don't have insurance, it's going to be another $124.
Yeah.
And if you don't pay the forfeiture, your license gets suspended again. So I understand you're in a tough spot because you're not working, but you don't want to dig this hole any deeper than it is.
Yeah, I know. It's $600 a month for insurance.
Yeah, no, I understand. All right, so how do you wish to plead on the insurance citation?
No contest.
You understand if you plead no contest, I'll find you guilty.
I do.
I do find a factual basis for your plea, and I'll find you guilty. Does the city have anything else to say?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. McGinnis, do you have anything you want to add yet at this point?
No.
Okay. I'll impose a forfeiture and costs of $124. I'll give you 30 days to pay that. Do you need more time?
No. Can I pay that here or what? Right?
Yeah. Downstairs.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. City versus Snyder. You're Whitney Snyder?
Yes.
S-N-Y-D-E-R?
Yes.
And you still live on Jackson Street in Stoughton?
Yes.
Ms. Snyder, you are looking at 2 charges, one of which is operating a motor vehicle without a valid driver's license. That means that you were operating a motor vehicle on a public highway without valid driving privileges. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You're also charged with hit and run of an unattended vehicle. That means that while you were operating a motor vehicle on a public highway, you struck another vehicle that did not have a person in it, and that you did not attempt to make contact with the owner of the vehicle or exchange identifying information or any of the other things that are required by statute in these circumstances. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Does the city have an offer?
The city does not have an offer.
All right. Ms. Snyder, what I could do is if you were to enter a plea of not guilty tonight, I would give you some time to call Mr. Brodkey before February 5th and see if you can resolve these cases. If not, we would set the matter for trial. Alternatively, if you want to plead guilty or no contest tonight, we could resolve the matter tonight. In all likelihood, if you enter such a plea, I would find you guilty and impose forfeitures in the amounts that are shown on the citation. Bear in mind that that hit and run citation is a 6-point ticket. The other one's a 3. That's 9 points. I don't know what your driving record looks like now, but
I don't have a driving record.
well, I haven't looked, so I don't know if that's accurate. But in any case, even if you don't, 9 points, you're awfully close to losing your license.
No,
Or having it suspended after you get one.
I would just probably plea so we can get it done tonight.
Okay. So you want to plead guilty or no contest?
No
Is that what you're
contest.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand if you plead no contest, I will find you guilty?
Yes.
All right, I'll accept your plea and I'll find you guilty. And I'm reviewing the police reports for a factual basis. Have you ever had a driver's license, ma'am?
No.
Well, I'll find you guilty, and I will impose forfeitures. Are you working, ma'am?
No, I'm a stay-at-home mother.
Okay. You're looking at over $300 in forfeitures and costs. How are you going to pay that if I order it?
My husband hopefully will help me pay them.
Have you spoken with him about that?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I will impose $187 on the hit and run, $187 including costs, and then $124 on the operating without a license. I understand, ma'am, that given where we live in Stoughton, we don't have buses or anything like that, so the only way you can get around if it's a distance you can't walk is driving, but you can't drive.
I know.
She hasn't said.
Nope.
And what's your name, ma'am?
I'm Kim, I'm her mom.
Okay. All right. How many kids do you have?
4.
Oh my, that's a handful.
I love them to death, though. I wouldn't trade them for the world.
Extra time to pay.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would
is there
normally.
like a payment plan or something?
Yeah,
that
I would
can-
normally give you 30 days to pay, but it sounds like you're going to need more than that. Reasonably, how much can you pay each month? The total is going to be over $300.
I can pay at least $75 a month.
Are you sure?
100% sure.
Okay. No, ma'am. Okay. What's our total?
311.
It's $311. What I'm going to do is this. I'm going to order $50 a month.
Okay.
Because if I order 75 and you don't make it, life is going to get even more complicated for you.
Okay.
If you pay it early, fine, you can do that.
Okay.
But I'm going to give you basically 6 months for your husband to pay this off.
Okay.
Does that sound fair?
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. And as soon as you get a copy of the judgment, then you're free to go. Do you have any questions about anything? Okay.
I'll
Thank
send
you
her
so
some
much.
paperwork for the payment plan.
Oh, right.
Be separate.
We'll send you in the mail, we'll send you information on the payment plan so that you've got that in writing. Okay?
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
That'll start March 1st.
Yeah, right. First payment is March 1st, so you've got a lot of time to get it done.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
This is the plea questionnaire that he was given.
Right. City versus Reese Bittrick. You're Mr. Bittrick?
Yep.
Please take off your cap. This is a courtroom. Mr. Bittrick, you are charged with 3 citations. Operating a motor vehicle while suspended. That means that you are operating a motor vehicle on a public highway while your driving privileges were suspended. Do you understand what that means?
Yep.
You're also charged with operating a motor vehicle while under the influence of an intoxicant. Do you understand what that means?
Yep.
And you're charged with operating a motor vehicle with a prohibited blood alcohol concentration. Do you understand what that means?
Not entirely.
Okay? In this state, whether you appear to be under the influence or not, if a blood sample or a breath sample taken from you indicates that you have a blood alcohol concentration of 0.8 or greater, that you're operating with a prohibited blood alcohol concentration. The citation I'm looking at says that the test results showed you had a blood alcohol concentration of 0.18. So better than twice what would get you into operating with a prohibited blood alcohol concentration. Do you understand that now?
Yep. The only thing I didn't really understand was how does that differ from operating while under the influence?
Sure, that's a good question. So, operating a motor vehicle while under the influence of an intoxicant means that you have an intoxicant in your system of some kind. It could be alcohol, it could be marijuana, it could be a prescription medication, or just about anything else that interferes with your ability to safely operate a motor vehicle on a public highway. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
That's what operating under the influence means. It doesn't matter how good or bad your driving was, though, for the blood alcohol concentration charge.
Okay.
If you have a blood alcohol concentration of greater than 0.08, regardless of any other facts about your driving or whether or not there was an accident or anything, that's a violation of law. Do you understand then?
Yep.
Okay. And does the city have an offer for the defendant this evening?
Your Honor, the city does not have an offer, but the city would like the opportunity to address sentencing if it goes to that point.
Okay. So, Mr. Bettrick, right now, you're looking at on the OWI or the blood alcohol concentration, you're looking at a forfeiture and costs totaling $986. If you are convicted of either the OWI or the BAC charge, the court is required to dismiss the other one, so you can't be convicted of both, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
There's only one set of penalties. And also be required to suspend your driver's license for not less than 6 nor more than 12 months. If you were convicted of operating with greater than a 0.15 blood alcohol concentration, which is what you're charged with right now, I would also have to order an ignition interlock device. That would be installed and paid for by you at your own expense for a period of time. I would also have to order that you complete the driver improvement program that's associated with operating while intoxicated. There's a fee for that you would have to pay. And you would have to pay that before you could get your driver's license back, regardless of whether or not the period of suspension has been served. On the operating while suspended charge, that's a 3-point citation, and if you were convicted on that, I would order you to pay a forfeiture and cost totaling $124. So the bottom line here is, if you were to plead guilty or no contest tonight, in all likelihood, I would be imposing forfeitures of over $1,000. I would suspend your driver's license for a period of somewhere between 6 and 12 months. Order you to do the alcohol assessment program and comply with any treatment that's recommended as a result of that. You would have to pay for, I would also order an ignition interlock device. You'd have to pay for that. And then, after you get if you want to get your driver's license back, there are fees you have to pay for that. That's setting aside what effect that might have on your insurance rates going down the road, which I think would probably be considerable. So, I can't give you any legal advice because I'm the judge. But I can say that most people in your position would benefit by having an opportunity to discuss the case with the prosecutor before they proceed any further. But you don't have to do that. You could plead guilty or no contest tonight if you wish. How would you like to proceed tonight?
I'd like to talk it over with the prosecutor first.
All right. I'll enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf for this evening,
Over to February 19th now.
okay? And we'll set this on for a pretrial phone conference on February 19th. Do you have a time for him?
3 p.m.
Will that work for you to call the city attorney at 3 o'clock on February 19th?
Yep.
You're not working then?
If I am, my bosses understand, they'll let me
Okay.
take the time off.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want you to lose your job or anything for that. We'll give you that in writing, and then you're free to go unless you have any further questions.
Not at the time, no.
Okay. Oh, one thing I forgot. If this matter does go to trial, do you want a jury, or would you be willing to have the case tried by me, the judge?
I'll probably have it tried by you.
I'm sorry?
I'd probably have it tried by you.
By me?
Yep.
Okay, so you do not want a jury trial?
No.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
So, given all of that, any questions?
No.
Okay. So give Mr. Bradke a call and we'll see if things can be worked out.
All right.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. City versus Laner? Lenher, thank you. Sorry about that. Mr. Lenher, is your last name spelled Lehnherr?
Yes.
First name Rowan, Rowan?
Yes,
You still live on Elvium Road in McFarland?
I do.
All right. Sir, you're charged with speeding on a public highway by 15 miles per hour over the posted limit. Do you understand the nature of the charge?
I do.
Mr. Brodke, does the city have an offer?
Yes, Your Honor. The city's going to amend it to 9 miles per hour over a 3-point citation with a $98.80 forfeiture.
Mr. Lenher, do you understand the city's offer?
I do.
And how do you wish to proceed?
No contest.
All right. I will amend to allege speeding by 9 miles per hour over the posted limit. Excuse me. I do find a factual basis for your plea, and I'll find you guilty. Does the city have anything else to add?
No, Your Honor.
Sir, do you have anything else to add?
I do not.
All right. I will impose a forfeiture and costs totaling $98.80. I'll give you 30 days to pay that unless you need more time.
I do not.
All right. We'll give you a copy of the judgment in writing, and then you're free to go.
Thank you.
He's 17. He's 17 years old, so I don't know if you
Oh.
talk about his probationary.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Sir, you appear to be on a probationary license. Is that correct?
I'm not too sure.
Well, I can check for you. Hang on. Yes, you are. And you will be until May 11th of 2026. So this is real important. If you get another citation anytime between now and May 11, 2026, the points on that citation will double.
Okay.
So you're looking at 3 right now.
Mm-hmm.
If you get, say, another 4-point ticket, it won't be 4, it'll be 8. And then
Okay.
you're 1 point away from losing your license.
Right.
So, do you understand that?
I do.
You don't want to lose your license.
I do not.
It's going to cost a lot more money for insurance. You have to pay a reinstatement fee. Things will be bad, so don't do that.
Okay.
Okay, so slow down.
I
Any
will.
questions?
Nope.
All right, thank you, sir. You're free
Thank
to
you.
go.
I have one question, please.
What's your name, sir?
His father, Gary Lenher.
Gary?
Gary Lynn here.
Okay.
I'm just curious, what is the normal probationary license? How long does that period go for? When they get their license at the age of 16, he's 17 now, but it has to go till.
I think it's 18.
I believe it's 3 years, sir.
Maybe 19.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
And that's normal.
Right.
That's the law. That's what it is.
Yep.
Okay. I didn't know that, so I was just curious. That's all.
Those sorts of things tend to change with some frequency, depending on what the legislature decides to do. So, it wasn't very long ago that I think it was only 18 months.
For me, it was 18, yeah.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Well, and that's why I try to remind people in his position that
It's very important.
it's really important, you know, especially with young drivers, they're learning how to drive,
I agree.
you know. So, yes, slow down and be sure that you're more careful driving, because if you heard other people here, they got in a hit and run with a parked car, well, that's 4 points right there.
Right.
For you, that'll be 8.
Yeah.
You don't want that to happen. I'm sure your dad doesn't either.
The whole point of it was just to get him to understand the importance of how important it is to,
Exactly.
use, good decisions while you're driving.
Okay, well, hopefully this is the last time that you're in a courtroom for anything like this.
I hope so as well.
Okay, thanks.
Good night.
Good evening, folks.
We have the 6 o'clock Tobias Schultz. He called. He would like to appear by phone. He understands that his license is a mandatory suspension for the absolute sobriety. However, he's questioning, shouldn't it be effect in December when he initially appeared? And I said that we kind of were doing a favor. Oh, he's showing up.
Okay.
We were just gonna call you. I was
Yeah,
ran a
all
little
right.
behind.
Just stay there a second, we're not quite done here. With respect to all the rest of the 5 o'clock calendar, for those defendants,
If I could bring one
Oh,
to your
sorry,
attention.
okay.
Thank you. Hendricks and Angel, is a Walmart restitution or retail theft. She does not want to appear. She's afraid to come here. I said, well, the only reason it's a mandatory is in case the judge orders restitution. I looked at the report, and Walmart was requesting $87.25. She paid it. She does not want to appear. If you order $87.25, that will close the matter, and I'll send it to Walmart.
Oh, okay.
It's never been done that way.
Sure.
but
So with respect to City versus Angel Hendrickson, the defendant's been in contact with my office. She will not be appearing. Restitution in the amount of $87.25 was requested by the victim, Walmart. I will order that. My understanding is that the defendant's not contesting it.
She's entered.
It also looks like she may already have paid it. She's also apparently posted bond on the citation.
Yes. She's entering a no contest plea in writing.
Right, so with respect to all of the matters that were calendared for 5 o'clock where there was no appearance, I'll find all of the defendants guilty by default. I will impose by way of disposition forfeiture and costs in the amounts listed on the bond portion of the citations. Obviously, there are quite a few who've already paid. Excuse me. For those who have not paid, I'll give them 30 days to pay from this evening. And I think that's all I have to do with those. All right. Thank you. So then, with respect to City versus Schultz, Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
Okay, come on up. Do I have his file?
I did not put it in there.
Okay.
This is our email
Oh,
correspondence.
okay,
we
great.
talked
Thank you.
about, and then here's occupation for him. He was questioning the effective date.
Oh, yes, I remember now. Mr. Brodkey, as I understand it, there are 2 issues here. First of all, when the matter was last in court in December, I neglected to impose the mandatory driver's license suspension that goes with the conviction. Does the city have a position on the length of the suspension? It's a mandatory suspension, so I think the only question is how long it has to be.
Your Honor, I'm unfamiliar with, is there a range like there is for the OWIs?
3 months, according to the statute.
Is that, okay,
It's-
sorry, never mind. Well, it's a minimum 3, or is there a min and max?
I only saw 3 months. I think I took it right from the online
Oh, yeah, I see,
statutes.
thank you. Sorry, according to section 346.65 paren 2Q, close paren, it's a mandatory 90-day suspension, so it's not a min or a max, so I will impose the 90-day suspension. The other issue, as I understand it on the defendant's part, is when that suspension should begin. His position, I believe, and correct me, sir, if I'm wrong, is that that suspension should date from the date of conviction as opposed to from tonight. If I got that correct?
Yep.
What's the city's position?
Your Honor, I don't feel strongly whether it begins tonight or last month. I only question whether the court has any real ability to do that. In this,
Discretion.
Yeah, any discretion in this instance. Based off of what you read from the statute, if it's shall, mandatory 3 months, and I would, although I'm certain that the defendant was not driving or, was otherwise abiding by the law in the intervening month, I'm not aware of if the court has any discretion. But I don't object either. I guess I don't object to what the court decides.
Right. I don't think I do have any discretion on the start date of the mandatory suspension, so I will order 90 days beginning, what was the actual
December
date?
18th.
December 18th, 2024.
He needs this occupational information.
Oh. Have you tried to get an occupational license yet? I'm guessing not, since
I have
DMV
not.
doesn't have the
I-
suspension.
I have an attorney, he just said.
Oh.
Yes, and he said that,
Do you have an attorney in this case?
he's just my all-around attorney.
This is the one where the 2 people were.
Yeah, I know. Mr. Brodkey, if he's represented by counsel in this matter, I don't think I can do anything tonight.
Yes, Your Honor, that I'm not comfortable proceeding if he's represented by counsel, and what he indicated was that there was potentially some advice given. So I guess I'd prefer to just reset this.
Yeah, I think we have to.
For a pretrial?
No, to have his attorney appear, or for the attorney to indicate that he's not representing him
Correct.
in this matter.
Right.
Who's your attorney?
Brian Severson.
Okay. Do you have contact information for
I
him?
can find it. Do you want me to call him and verify?
Yeah, I mean, it's 6:15. I doubt you'd find him in the office
No,
tonight.
I'll call him.
Okay.
If he has no objection, then would we continue with the December 18th suspension?
Yeah, I think I have to do that. I don't think I have any discretion in that matter, and that even if he's represented by counsel and counsel's not here, I don't think it really makes any difference unless you've got a different view, Mr. Brodkey.
Not with regard to the
Okay.
discretion.
All right. Well, I'm not going to go any further with this then. I will, though, give you information on how to get an occupational license if you haven't already tried to do that. But, sir, it's really important that if you are represented by counsel in this matter, that your attorney contact us instead of you.
Okay.
Okay? And by all means, please let your attorney know what happened tonight, so that if he wants to come back to court and do something different than has already happened, we can change it retroactively. But I think it should be clear on the record that the only reason the court proceeded in this matter back in December and then is proceeding tonight is that there's no notice of retainer on file. As far as I know, he's not represented by counsel other than what he just told us in open court.
And the same for the city as well.
Okay. Any questions about anything?
I guess, is it gonna go back to December 18th or?
Talk to your attorney first. We'll find out whether or not you're actually represented.
Okay.
If you are represented, I'm sorry, I misunderstood your question. The suspension does backdate to the date of conviction, December 18, 2024. So it's 90 days from that date, which takes you to roughly February, March 24th, or March 18th, give or take. And my clerk will report the suspension I've ordered to DMV, so they'll have that on file in pretty short order. As far as anything else, if there are any other, well, let your attorney know what has happened with this citation, because again, as far as I knew, you weren't represented. If he wants to weigh in on it because he's representing you in this case, I'm more than happy to hear from him. But let him know and let him decide whether or not he represents you in this case. It may be he just represents you on something else.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we done?
There's one, there was an
Oh.
agreement with the city attorney, they were gonna dismiss it if he had no further non-traffic.
Oh,
Did
right.
not.
City versus Jordan Montgomery. Mr. Montgomery was cited for disorderly conduct, and apparently the city agreed that if he did not have any further violations from the date of his initial appearance, which
It was 6 months, yeah.
6 months ago,
From
that the city would move to dismiss. Apparently, there are no further,
July 17th was the.
yeah, there are no further violations, so what's the city's motion?
The city moves to dismiss the citation.
So ordered.
The only thing I'm looking for guidance on how you want to, because there was no, obviously, no January payments, so.
Are we
Yeah.
adjourned or?
No,
Still.
there's
Okay.
still Mr. Hammes.
We are on the record.
Yeah, I know.
So, Your Honor, I believe that Mr. Hammes has informed the court and me that his son had passed away in late December. I have not had further contact with him.
Okay. And apparently, he did not make a payment for January. And normally, I would be very concerned about that, but, right, I'm aware too that his son recently died. I've seen the obituary in the paper. So given those circumstances, I'm not going to do anything about it this evening, but I will calendar this on for a review in February just to see where his payment schedule's at. Unless the city has
No-
another idea.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. And with that, we're adjourned.